गतसंगस्य मुक्तस्य ज्ञानावस्थितचेतसः यज्ञाय आचरतः कर्म samagram praviliyate. Hello friends, this is the 23rd shlok of the 4th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, and today we will understand this shlok in detail. So let's first go over its meaning. So the shlok says Gat Sangasya Muktasya, which means the unattached, free, there, Jnana Avasthit Chetasah, which means awareness is situated in knowledge. Yagyaya Acharatah Karma, which means by conducting deeds for Yagya, Samagram Praviliyate, which means merge into everything. So, in this shlok, Sri Krishna is continuing to describe how the wise people actually act and what is the proper way of acting. And what he says is that a person who is unattached and who is free, they place their awareness in the knowledge itself. And because they place their awareness in knowledge itself, they perform their actions in a manner which is consistent with the divine yajna, and in this manner they merge into everything. So this is a very beautiful description about the idea of moksha that has been presented in this shlok. And if you can understand what Sri Krishna is mentioning over here, then you will understand what moksha actually means. So currently the idea of moksha has a lot of confusion attached with it, and there are many different kind of descriptions that have been given in terms of what this state of moksha, or you can say freedom, actually is, where people give multiple explanations, such as they say that moksha actually means that you will be living in Vaikuntha with Vishnu. Some say that the moksha is a state where you are suspended, you are not really taking births anymore, and you are living, you are basically situated in a manner where you are suspended and you are happy all the time because you are contented. So there are many multiple different explanations that have been given with regards to moksha, and they have created a lot of confusion. So from this shlok, we can understand what moksha actually means. So whenever we are performing our actions in this world, we are generally performing it with a certain point of view. And as we have discussed previously, this point of view could be that of a person, it could be that of a family, it could be that of a clan, a caste, a nation, or a religion, or things like that. So, whenever you are performing your actions in that manner, your behavior becomes limited to that particular point of view. So, for example, a Hindu does not really eat beef, while a Muslim, he eats the beef pretty easily. Similarly, a Muslim, he does not really eat pork, but if you talk to a Chinese, they really love eating pork. So you can see over here that although we are all humans, a particular human is behaving in a certain manner which seems to be okay for that person, but that behavior is considered bad by the other person. And so what's happening is that people consider certain action good, while they consider the certain action bad, while a different person considers that bad action to be appropriate and some other action to be bad. And we see that all of these people are actually happy to be whoever they are. Hindus are happy to be Hindus, Muslims are happy to be Muslims, and Chinese are happy to be Chinese, while their behavior is completely different. So this basically happens because our behavior gets limited to the point of view to which we limit us to. And so we place our awareness in this identity which is associated with our family, with our nation, with our religion, and things like that. So the wise people, they understand this thing, and they actually broaden their identity. So they will not limit their point of view to just one particular aspect. They will expand it, and they will understand that all these people who are behaving in a certain manner, they are behaving from their own point of view, which is a limited point of view. It's not something which is universal. It's basically limited to just that name and form. And behind these names and forms, there is ultimate reality which is present inside all of us. And they identify with that ultimate reality, and in that manner they conduct their actions all the time. And so when they see some sort of a conflict, they do not really limit to one point of view. So for example, in India there is one conflict that often comes up, which is between Muslims and Hindus. And a wise person, he will look at this conflict as a conflict between two different point of views, where one is working towards flexibility while the other is the one which represents rigidity. And this conflict is basically a conflict between the flexibility of thinking and rigidity of thinking. And if there is too much flexibility of thinking in a society, that is bad. And if there is too much rigidity in the thinking of the society, that is also bad. So this conflict actually is something which keeps the universe in balance, wherein too much flexibility is also not there and too much rigidity is also not there. And such a person, if he'll see that one point of view is becoming more and more dominant over the other, then he will start working towards the point of view which is getting suppressed, and bring it up also, and then bring the whole thing in balance. So if rigidity is overtaking flexibility, then he'll work towards flexibility and make it stronger so that it remains in balance. If it happens the other way, then he'll work towards the other side and try to bring the universe in balance. So these people who are wise, they do not limit their point of view to just one particular aspect associated with their identity. They look at it from a whole universal point of view, and they always work towards keeping this universe in balance. And this is exactly what the power of Vishnu is. Vishnu is that power which keeps this universe in balance. And so this kind of a behavior is what actually moksha is. And you can call it whatever you want. You can call it as living with Vishnu in Vaikunt, or you can call it merging into Vishnu, or you can call it staying in a suspended state where you are not really identifying with any particular identity. But basically that is what moksha is. So I hope that I have explained this shlok well to you. With that, I will close this video. I will see you all in the next video. Take care.